can actually move up to our number 6, and the Seattle Swamperts, which is actually Swampy's team. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
so Swampy, if you want, you can talk us through why and how you drafted this team, and you already played your week 1 match as well. We're not going to spoil anything, but um, let's uh, let's hear your
Well,
thoughts.
okay. So initially going into the draft, I had zero idea what I was going to be drafting because I was like, well, I don't know, because fourth pick is a weird one because usually you don't get one of the because you're not going to usually get one of those top three mons,
Hmm.
and so I had no idea what I was going to be picking. And so when Celestiva fell to me, I was like, all right, well, I'll go with Cella. Um, and I don't. The one thing I did want to do is I wanted to draft differently this season than I normally do. I wanted to use some different mons that I normally draft, um, but at the same time, still make it viable, of course. But there was a few snipes that kind of foiled a couple of my plans for what I was trying to do, and I had to kind of like settle with a couple of picks. Um, but I at one point I was trying to go for two. I was trying to go for two rock setters, and I didn't really get that. So I said, "Screw it! I'm just going to go for more speed."
Hmm.
Because this team, as you notice, has a lot of
Oh
speed
yeah,
on it.
I think it's the fastest team in A League, to be honest. Um,
Um,
I'm pretty sure.
but I, I, I definitely, yeah, like I could definitely see the argument, like where, oh, well, I don't need that much speed, but um, I think I cover speed tiers pretty well. I the only one I don't really have is like a base 100,
Hmm.
but like everything else, I think I've got covered pretty decently
Well,
well.
what's nice is that you don't have base hundreds, but you do have Garchomp, which sits at 102 and actually outspeeds base hundreds anyways. So,
Right.
um, I think that's actually even better. And then, and then you have things like Mismatches. I just think you did hit the speed tiers very nicely, and if you wanted with your higher speedy mons, uh, you can just run Adamant and Modest a lot
Right.
of the time. So.
Yeah. And that was my thought process too. Was like, well, if I do this, I mean, I could probably sacrifice because of how fast my team is. I could probably sacrifice a little bit of speed
Hmm.
each week and run more bulk or more power or whatever,
Yeah.
um, and get away with it.
So,
Um,
yeah.
and like I said, it was I had a different thought process going into this draft than I usually do. Usually, when I go into a draft, I usually draft usually a lot of setup lines and a lot of power. And I wanted to try something different this time. Definitely still have the options there for that, but like at the same time, drop some lines that I don't use that much,
Hmm.
um, that provide like something different than what I normally do. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I still have plenty of setup on,
Oh,
but
for sure. Yeah.
at the same time, I have a lot more speed. I do think my recovery or my hazard removal is all right. My hazard setting could be a little better, but um,
Well, that's the thing
because
with
I'm
like high for faster mons is that they don't get too many hazards, so it
right,
becomes
but
that kind of.
I do have all covered because I have guard chomp and Greninja.
Yeah.
Uh, so I don't have to run like rocks every week,
Hmm.
but
Hey, you can always just run the T spikes on Greninja. Like Greninja is always amazing because just because of its coverage and its utility, it gets spikes and T spikes, which I'd never really expect coming from a Greninja. You'd always expect like the offensive set, but he can
right.
just be the lead set with T spikes, taunt, all that stuff. So it just makes him a very
Yeah.
nice, it makes him a very nice
Like
mod.
looking over, I think like the biggest weakness to my team, like looking at it, is probably like carry types, because I do have I have the Alola Incursion, the Greninja, and the Garchomp, and the Mega Gallade that are weak to
Hmm.
carry. But
You can argue
but
that, but then again, you have the biggest, uh, you know, wall to a fairy type on your team
right,
being the
right,
Celesteela. So,
yeah,
um, if there's any fairy types messing with your team, you just bust out the big steel type button.
right,
Um, Now, I was curious actually when I was looking at your team because, uh, the Genes, Eagle and Gene himself, they both ranked your team at number one, and I could understand, like I saw it as well, how like it did have a lot of synergy, had a lot of speed, a lot of utility and setup and potential win cons, but I didn't
right,
understand really the Alolan Persian there. And it could just be because you wanted something to be more bulky and pivot out, which is very nice. You can have a parting shot user and just parting shot out into one of your slower mons, being the Celesteela, or just get some initiative there. Um, but you already had the typing with Greninja, so I wasn't sure exactly what you were going with there.
right.
Um,
Well, I think that was the idea was because I do have the Greninja. Um, I just it was a tough choice because there wasn't a lot left for me to really pick in tier 4 at the time that was really
mhm,
viable.
yeah,
And since I was going for more speed anyways, I figured why not? Because I can always, like, the worst comes to worst, I can always slap a choice scarf on it or something and
hmm,
just like use it as a pivot mon or as a late game sweeper or something. Just something. You, it's always. I mean, you never want to have too many of one type or one weakness,
yeah, for sure.
but having two dark types isn't necessarily the worst thing. Just because, like, um, especially when you got mons like Mega Lottie running around in the format,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Dark spam is
Um,
definitely one of the better typings to have. I
right.
would say just like water types. Water types aren't the worst thing to kind of have on your
Yeah.
team. Like double up on them because they're only weak to two typings anyways. So
Right.
and dark types they yeah, obviously they do add to your fairy weakness, but I do personally like the pivoting options that you have on your team, being the Rotom Wash and the Alolan Persian, because what
Right.
happens is Alolan Persian's in, it's so fast that it just kind of just parting shots out into Rotom Wash, and Rotom Wash being bulky in itself kind of just takes the hit, and then you bolt switch out, and then you go into something like one of your wall breakers. And uh,
Right.
I do like the option of kind of just at the same time of being a balanced, very bulky squad, you can also just be an offensive squad in the back would keep your offensive threats healthy, due
Right.
due to you having such bulky pivots. So even Serena at the same time, Serena very bulky, having U-turn, and can also spin away the hazards just like Rotom can do fog. So so I do like your options there. Very very nice. And Salazzle, um, I'm not too sure about the Salazzle, but it is very nice to kind of handle the fairies. Like like you said, you don't have a
Yeah.
lot to switch into, but Salazzle being an offensive threat, very fast, especially if it runs Z, it kind of just takes on the fairies in and of itself, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah, and there's things you can do with Salazzle too. I mean, it's pretty frail, but I mean, you can work around it. There's stuff you can do to make it work.
hey, the
Um,
the toxic set, pretty much, you can just toxic anything.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I actually have it another league right now too. it's pretty fun to use. I never used it really before then, and I kind of liked it. So when I got sniped to all bloody hell in tier 3, I said, screw it, I'll just take Salazzle as my fire type. So
I was actually thinking of going for Salazzle at one point during this draft. It would have helped my speed tiers, but I kind of just went with Darmanitan instead, just because I needed some immense power. But Salazzle is it's just so good. Just being that fast and being able to toxic just about anything. If there's like a Mega Venusaur in front of you, that thing's gonna get toxic. And if there's just a bulky mon in general that you can't really touch, and it's a steel type, I mean, you can hit the steel type anyways with the fire type move, but you know, Salazzle, I think Salazzle only has about 111 special attack. I'm not too positive on that.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is, but
yeah, I think it's 111.
It's good enough.
Yeah,
it's good enough.
It's good enough. So
and it completes my fire, water, grass core, which was what I was going for.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of does make it a switch into fairies, because it 4 times resists fairies, right? So
I think so, yeah. So
yeah.
So I think it fit like as good as it probably could fit.
Jane, do you have anything you want to add to Swampy's team?
Not really. The only thing I could see instead of, like you mentioned it, the Illusion Persian Magus, probably something like maybe a Cofagrigus or something like that.
Cofagrigus?
Right.
Just to add bulk, and that's the only thing missing, I find, is a little bulk.
Yeah.
But that's it, yeah.
Like I was saying, like the bulk there is pretty much Cell Stealer, Rotom Wash, and Persian. But Serena in itself can also be very bulky, and I do like that it gets spin as well.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, with him having a very fast team, you can't really expect it to be very bulky. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's definitely not the bulkiest team. I've definitely had way bulkier squads in the past. But like I said, I was going for something different this season.
Yeah, of course. It's kind of best to always switch it up and try something new. Even my squad, I have a whole new set of mons I've never used before.
Right.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I have a few that I've used before. But that's pretty much it.
I mean, I've used a few of these mons in the past. I've used, obviously, Sella, Rotom, Garchomp, Slurpuff, but, like, Miss Magius, Greninja, I've never even really used Mega Gallade until this.
Oh, yeah. And Mega Gallade, I hear, is just an amazing...
Base 165 attack with base 110 speed.
Yeah, being that fast and having knockoff is actually just what makes him amazing, too. Because he can hit those psychic types, whereas like things like a Mega Medicham can't. So
Shadow Sneak as well.
Shadow Sneak, he has priority with like Vacuum Wave if you even want to go that route.
I have his special attack is good, but I have a lot of priority on this too.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. You have Water Shuriken and Shadow Sneak on Grand. Actually, Rotom gets Sucker Punch. I don't know what else. Does Persian get priority? I have no idea. I know Raichu obviously does.
Salazzle gets Fake Out.
Salazzle gets Fake Out. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Persian gets Fake Out as well.
Persian gets Fake Out. Raichu actually gets Extreme Speed and stuff, so it's pretty good. Yeah. I think with that, we can actually just move up to our Season 3 champion, Tyler, and his Winnipeg Weaviles, sitting at number 5, I believe. So, Tyler, if you want to go ahead and walk us through your thought process. You were the 12th round pick this time around. So, Kieran Black, what are your thoughts?
Season 2 champ.
Did I say Season 3? I meant Season 2 there.
Yeah. Yeah, originally my whole draft plan was based around Starry Hunter, but I actually really wanted Weavile this time around
Oh yeah.
because it's one of my favorite mons.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I can't see it. I can't see it.
But going back all the way around, I 100% wasn't expecting Kieran Black at 12.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah,
I literally had to change up my entire draft plan.
I think the ones like obviously Scolipede and Tyranitar going round one, which is not really expected. So
Well,
the order of how the Mons were drafted really kind of was unexpected too, which kind of helped you.
I took Tyranitar in the last round.
Yeah, Scully and Tyranitar were taken in the last round, but that's only because they decided not to pick up their tier 1s first. So.
Okay.
But yeah, Kieran Black falling to round 12, it's very interesting because I know personally for me, I've used Kieran Black already. I just wanted to kind of try out some new stuff, so I wasn't planning on picking up again.
I've used KB once and I actually really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It can do a lot of stuff. You can run a defensive roost set. You can run offensive, physical, either on the special side too.
Mm-hmm. That's just what makes
Scarf as well.
It's just what makes Kieran Black like one of the best mons in Draft League in general. It's just because it's always on the edge of being like Ubers, but it's just good enough so that it can be drafted in like OU leagues. But yeah, like you said, it gets
originally my plan was to grab huge wall breakers to go with Kieran Black. So just by pairing it with Mega Scissor, I think I achieved that.
Mm-hmm. You also made a trade. I think we have to address that, right? I think you dropped your Feraligatr, and you picked up Slowbro. So
yeah, because after looking at my entire draft, I really wanted to base my draft mainly around Mega Scissor because I know Kieran Black doesn't really need much help by itself.
Yeah.
And with Scissor having a 4x weakness to the fire type, and I was actually really weak to fire, so I wanted to have a good bulky water that could switch into either physical or special water hit.
Yeah, that Slowbro does that very well.
I went with Slowbro there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it.
But other than that, like the fighting type weakness on KB, I still have Togekiss that completes my core.
Mm-hmm.
I actually cover pretty much all my weaknesses. Plus, I went with Sableye as my tier 5 just because having a Prankstermon is something I feel is really good in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that core of Kieran Black plus Slowbro, plus Mega Mawile with Eagles team in season 2 as well, right? And it did amazing for him because, again, like you said, Slowbro kind of covers the weaknesses that Kieran has to fighting and to steel. So I think it was a great transaction that you did there. Also, so I don't have to face Feraligatr.
Really gels all my team together.
Mm-hmm. And I like your fire water grass core. I think your fire water grass core is one of my favorites, being the Celebi, Emboar, and Slowbro. Yes, you do have the 2 psychic types, but I think that they're very good psychic types. So that kind of changes things when even with the weaknesses. Celebi obviously
I've honestly always loved using Celebi.
Celebi is amazing.
Dropped it to tier 3. I decided to pick it up right away.
Yeah, I mean, having it in tier 3, we were debating on it for a while, but the fact that it dropped to tier 3 just makes it an amazing pickup because of the fact that it's just it can be anything that you really want it to be. It does get the coverage. And especially with OpenZ, it can be a threat as well. So yes, it does have all those weaknesses, but it's still bulky enough that it can, for the most part, it actually lives a lot of the things that it's weak to, the 4x weaknesses.
Yeah, Celebi does a lot of things that you need on a team. usually.
And like that's also what I told Gene and Eagle. I was actually like on my first draft plan, I was looking at picking it up in tier 2, and then we decided to move it down. So I had to change my draft plan again, but it was at my advantage, so I didn't mind it at all.
There you go.
Well, if you didn't grab it, I was gonna grab it for sure. It's one of the mons that get rocks and U-turn. And obviously Landorus gets that. I have that on my side, but I don't know how many Pokemon actually get rocks and U-turn. Like Gliscor does as well. So it's very
a great
nice.
Mon, because like you said, you can run it defensively. You have rock set. It gets recovery. You can run it as a sweeper. You can
it
do
gets
a lot
heal
of things
bell
with it
as well. Like it can actually be a cleric. So
it does a lot of stuff.
And the only thing I can see with your team that you might have trouble against is like a combo of a good bulky steel type and a bulky water together.
Yeah, a bulky water type might be hard, but he does have the Raikou. And obviously
for the steel
Black.
type he has like Donphan and Embar. But you know, that's the only thing that might have a problem. I'm not saying you will.
But like Raikou still gets Aura Sphere and Embar still gets Wild Charge.
He does have the coverage there.
I still have coverage on both.
Well, take my team, Vaporeon and Mega Aggro. That's kind of tough to break, I think. I might be wrong, obviously.
You kind of need a special wall breaker in that case. Maybe like a special.
I see a fire type being more of an issue. Obviously, you have the Slowbro, but outside of that,
I've got Slowbro. I could run a defensive Muck. I could run. Yeah. There's a few different things, but Slowbro is definitely my main check.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm really nitpicking here because I kind of really like that team.
Yeah,
I find it scary. Yeah.
It's a very nice team for me, to be honest.
Like I've just used Muckalola as well, and I know what it can do, right, Swampy?
Yep.
And it's I really like the Muck.
Togekiss is also a very nice cleric as well. I think you have some nice hazards as well. You got the Smeargle, which honestly, every single time you snipe that from me, my heart breaks a little bit because I love Smeargle. Smeargle gets so many things that you can just use if you don't have.
The worst part about it is, I always almost draft Smeargle.
Yeah, I know.
But you still try to wait it out, and I draft it right before.
I just think sometimes you might not draft it, and then I could get lucky, but then you go ahead and snatch it. So
it's too good not to grab in tier 4.
Yeah, it's a very nice honestly, it's not good offensively, but it's sometimes it gets the coverage that you need, especially if teams have 4 times weaknesses that you can exploit with it, and then you can just like run webs or hazards or whatever you need it to.
Just run transform focus sash.
There you go.
Smeargle is about to V-create your Mega Pinsir to hell.
Yeah, and no, you have to run Rock Wrecker. What are you talking about? And then what's it called? I remember Cheez-Its actually ran a very interesting set last season against Mawwows. He ran the what was it? He ran Imprison, Transform, so that he could pretty much struggle kill one of Mawwows' Pokemon to death, because with Imprison and him transforming into one of his opponent's Pokemon, he has all the same moves, so he can't use any of them. And I found that really interesting. I've never seen that before. But Smeargle can obviously have multiple sets that it can do, just with the options that it has.
That's one of the other ones that I really like as a low tier, that I find is a very valuable pick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a valuable pick.
I really like Hiram B, Mega Scizor, Togekiss.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right there.
Yeah.
I initially wanted Sylveon to go with it, but someone decided to snipe me, so.
Yeah, I had Sylveon and Mega Scizor last season as well, and they do pretty nicely together. Like they can offensively, they can be nice, and defensively. So, what do you think of
I did.
Tyler's speed tiers there?
My speed tiers are honestly trash, but that's another reason I decided to go with Slowbro over Alamomola, because I can still get a Trick Room team going here.
You could, yeah, for sure.
This team can easily run Trick Room. I mean, your fastest lawn is Celebi.
No, it's Raikou.
Just don't pick
Raikou.
No, Raikou, sorry.
Yeah.
If you're going with Trick Room, Tyler, don't put webs on Smeargle.
Yeah.
No, I know. That happened once, and I was really tired.
It could be
props to me for still winning that game.
It could still be very scary having webs or Trick Room with that Emboar. Because like we were talking about, some teams
I've got a lot of threats on their Trick Room. If I get to set up a Trick Room, I could get KB for fast Mons. I still have Mega Scizor, who isn't that fast. I could run an offensive Muck. I could run an offensive Emboar. I've got a lot of threats under Trick Room, which I like.
Then I do like your hazard removal for sure. You do have Togekiss, Donphan, and Scizor. Scizor, he can also just be a very nice utility defogger. So, and he does it well.
He takes Smeargle.
Smeargle can run Rapid Spin and defog if he wants to. Yeah, for sure. So
I definitely got a lot of options, which I really like. And like I said, just the Prankster Sableye who can status my opponents is really something I like too.
I will say one thing that your team kind of struggles maybe with Mega Diancie, but then again there's a lot of teams that are hard to switch into Mega Diancie. But you do have the Scizor that can obviously bullet punch it to hell. So.
Yep.
So yeah.
He also has some sturdy Donphan as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just a thing that I can see, like maybe fake out as well can be kind of bad against you, but I'm sure you'll find ways to work around that.
Priority in general could be a bit of an issue, but he has the walls that can kind of take, like Slowbro can always kind of come in and then swap out, so and then you just regain.
Well, for fake out you could just sub in Sableye as well, unless it's Mega Lopunny.
Yeah.
But like Donphan, sturdy, Focus Sash, Smeargle, stuff like that can be kind of weak to fake out. But other than that, like this team looks really good.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid team in my opinion. And that's kind of why we had it at number 5, right? So I think we can actually continue on with our number 4. If we're finished talking about the Winnipeg Weebiles, we have at number 4 the Amsterdam Ambipoms and Witchard's team. And
funny how he's ranked over me.
Right? And the amount of times he got sniped in this draft was just hilarious.
My team is absolute garbage. Goodbye.
I love Mega Blastoise.
Like when I saw that I was like, that's interesting. I mean, if you look at his team, his Firewater Grass Core is solid. Infernape Mega Blastoise Superior, like that's pretty good.
All starters. Yeah.
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 Funny enough.
I do love Mega Blastoise. I've used it twice.
Starters, all different gens.
Yeah. And Mega Blastoise gets so much coverage that sometimes it makes it hard for you to want to run Rapid Spin, but it is a very nice Rapid Spinner. I think it's one of the best in the games because even if you go up against a Ghost type, Mega Blastoise, with that Mega Launcher ability, can just Dark Pulse that Ghost type and can still Rapid Spin whenever it wants. So It makes it so sometimes you don't even need any other hazard removers. But, Witcher does have the Mew that can run Defog if he wants to. He has the Savali. He even has Superior and Skuntank. Gliscor can defog as well. But again, like I said, he doesn't even with all those. Blastoise is still an amazing hazard remover.
What I like on this team is I really like the Galvantula pick, because after he sets webs, this team just runs through a lot of shit.
Oh yeah, for sure. It makes it so that sometimes he doesn't even need to run the Infernape Scarfed. Although Scarf Infernape is very nice to kind of clean late game. Kind of also want to have some versatility with Infernape, because Infernape, one of the best tier 2s in my opinion, gets so much coverage plus so much setup, and just limiting it to a choice item kind of removes its versatility. So under webs it does a lot of work, and pairing it with Mew, which I really love. I love the Mew Infernape combination. They become a very strong core. Especially with him having, a very strong backbone in Mega Blastoise if he needs it to.
He also has a nice special draw.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it, but
yeah, the Guja.
The one snipe he actually got.
Yeah.
the thing is that Guja pairs very nicely with the Blastoise because he gets the Sap Sipper ability. So it kind of just he might not have been going after that, but he was very he was trying to help out his Mega Blastoise's ability, his longevity. Now the one thing I will say is that he doesn't have the best Dark type. Yes, he still has the Skuntank.
Well, there's also a Silvally, right? If you want to.
Silvally can also run the Dark for sure. But to be fair, he doesn't have the best Steel type, so Ollie might want to run Steel a lot of times as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Probopass is I don't know.
I don't really know what Probopass.
That four times weakness to ground
and fighting, yeah.
And fighting.
Well, I mean, it's the stack attack complex, right? It can be bulky, but at the same time,
it doesn't have the power of Stacca.
It doesn't at all. Yeah.
Well, that's why they're 3 tiers up.
The best thing it can do, pretty much, if you bring him, is he's gonna get up rocks and then probably faint. But you never know. I don't know. It's his only Steel type, so unfortunately it might have to be brought a lot. But then again, there is the Silvally that can be run with the Steel Silvally, so it's not like he's limited to just the Probopass there.
I mean, personally, I don't like Mons weeks because Earthquake is so common.
Yeah, Earthquake, I mean, just having ground coverage, most Mons get ground coverage, so...
Yeah, exactly, it's so common, so that's why I'm not really a fan of 4 times ground, but, it's tier 5.
Exactly.
It's also a Steel type, which I find is the most important type in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you could have maybe drafted a better Steel type. I know you wanted Mega Aggron. He'll be mad at me. Well,
yeah, he also wanted Bronzong, and I kind of sniped him from that too.
Yeah. Well, he sniped Megudra, so the check to Volcarona. It's a perfect check to Volcarona, I find.
Yeah.
And I wanted it on my team to have it because I don't want anyone else to have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Guja's just very nice, especially if it has an Assault Vest. Very, very nice.
Oh yeah, it just eats special attacks. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the Mew Infernape, I love it as well.
Yeah.
With you paired that with the Gliscor, it's lovely.
I do love the Mimikyu as an offensive late game cleaner as well. Pretty much if he doesn't want to win with Mew or Infernape, or maybe have hazards up, or he can just get up webs. But Mimikyu is always a nice kind of fallback sweeper in the late game, because it's pretty much guaranteed to always get up a Swords Dance or something of that.
Well, Hunt had an awesome set last season in the playoffs with the Salic and Swords Dance at the end.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that would have swept my team right there. But luckily, I had a good roll on Earthquake, but I also had Rocky Helmet, Ref Skin.
Yep.
That won me the match. But
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that, I had 4 mons left, and you would have went right through them.
Mm-hmm.
It's dangerous. It's scary.
Yeah. The thing is that again, you kind of need a Mold Breaker / Charivolt mon to make sure that you have a guaranteed answer to break through that disguise. And at the same time, if you don't, then you need to kind of designate your Steel type to make sure that the Mimikyu doesn't sweep you in the late game, and that just becomes very scary when you might want to use your Steel type to kind of wall the Mew when Mew's setting up nasty plots or something. So I can see Witchard having to use Mimikyu in the late game a lot, and just
also pairs well with Infernape, I find.
Yeah, for sure. Just because what's it called?
There's no Steel type that wants to stay in front of Infernape. Like I don't know. It's very, the team works very well, I find.
Yeah, I agree. I do like it. That's why we kind of have it pretty high up. I know that Witchard wasn't originally going for a team like this, but I think he made it work. Especially, even if he doesn't have the best Steel type, he still has 4 free agencies he can use.
Yeah.
I just like the core that he has. Even if he just has to bring some of the same mons each week.
And again, Witchard, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if I just let you get that bronze on too, that's my bad as well.
Gliscor is a silent killer here as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's weak to ice and water, right? And Blastoise kind of just covers that.
Yeah.
So. All right. Do we have anything else on?
Well, I kind of have a segue because having played this team already,
yeah,
there's definitely ways around the core, and especially when the opponent's team does not care whatsoever about webs, it gets tough for Witchard's team.
Yeah. I guess we didn't talk about his speed tiers too much. His fastest mon is that Infernape, or no, he does have the Superior.
Superior, yeah.
But Superior and Infernape, after that, kind of goes to the Mew, and then it drops.
Oh, you got Galvantula as well.
Oh, Galv, yeah. I mean, Ape and Galvantula hit the same speed tier. So, I guess I am underestimating his speed tiers a little bit, but...
and you got Mew, Mimikyu...
Does Skuntank hit 95? I can't remember.
No, so you got 95.
90.
I think Skuntank's 84. So.
Okay, because you got 95 with the Gliscor and Silvally. So that's maybe a little mistake. He kind of speed stacked a little too much.
Yeah, maybe. I think his speed tier is actually kind of hit right around the middle. Because even Blastoise is 80, I think, right?
Yeah, they're like mine. Like I kind of smush some speed tiers, maybe a little too much, but we'll see. Like we'll see how it does.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, Mimikyu is 96.
It's 96.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
then you got 2 other mons at 95.
Mm-hmm. So, like at the same time, he does have mons that go over that base hundreds, but then he just kind of has that middle sector where his mons are just like in the 90s. So, who knows? It could work for him. His bulkier mons like Mew and Silvally are also very fast, as well as Gliscor. So, maybe, but I do like his Bolt. What?
Another set that I haven't seen a lot on Mew is like the Rock Polish Swords Dance.
Yeah.
With the Munium Z and something else.
Yeah.
Which can just clean, right?
Basically, yeah. He can use Mew as a very strong wall breaker, and then kind of just clean up with Mimikyu.
Yeah. And also, if he has webs on this side, like webs are on this side of the field, Superior can come in and just go to town on people as well.
That's true. Yeah, Superior, you have to kind of make sure you save an answer for it as well, because otherwise it sets up a Leaf Storm or two, and then it kind of just wins as well.
Well, you think you're funny, you put webs on this side of the field, you're like, okay,
oh yeah,
good to go.
Exactly. And then
Superior comes in plus one speed, then yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah, you're pretty much. So yeah, and I do like the Volturn momentum that he has with this team as well. He has obviously Mew, Infernape gets U-turn, Galvangela can Volt Switch, Slavoli can U-turn and Parting Shot, Gliscor can U-turn. So it's a very nice kind of momentum that he can gain with his team. And then
can the Skuntank U-turn as well?
The Skuntank can't. For the longest time I thought he could, but he can't.
Yeah, we do. Okay.
So, but yeah, that's...
The hazards are there as well. Hazard removal is there.
Mm-hmm.
He has the grounded poison as well. I mean,
I just think for the tiers that he drafted, he got the best value, I believe.
Yeah.
Because Mew and Infernape, for sure, like those two, they can do a lot, just pretty much anything they want, and set up hazards and all that. So
it's not predictable. That's
for sure.
That's a big thing in draft. Also, is if you draft a team that's predictable, you're not gonna win a lot of games.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of why he has a lot of hazard removal as well, I think.
Yeah, and momentum playing, yeah.
Yeah, and if you look at it, like his team again isn't so much weak to hazards. So it's interesting, but it's always good to have the removal, like the added removal that he needs. So.